All right, today we're going to tackle one of the most powerful and honestly most misunderstood concepts out there, Kaizen. Now, it gets thrown around as a buzzword, maybe a tool you use once in a while, but it's so much more than that. It's a deep philosophy of improvement. Our goal here is to build a complete mental model so you can see it for what it truly is, a perpetual engine for growth. Let's just be honest with ourselves for a second. We've all done it. A problem pops up, and our first instinct is to go hunting for that one big, expensive, silver bullet fix. That one massive project or that shiny new software that's going to solve everything in one fell swoop. And especially in the West, we absolutely worship dramatic innovation, right? It's flashy, it gets headlines. But Kaizen? Well, Kaizen plays a completely different game. It isn't about those huge, costly breakthroughs that happen once in a blue moon. It's all about small, continuous, low-cost improvements. It might seem undramatic, even a little boring, but the results over time, they're explosive because those tiny gains just keep compounding. So here's our game plan. We'll start by busting that myth of the big breakthrough. Then we'll dig into what the word Kaizen really means. After that, and this is key, we'll uncover its two hidden pillars. Then we'll check out the engine that drives it, see why it has to be a culture, not a project, and finally, we'll put it all together. Sound good? Let's go. To really get Kaizen, we have to peel back all the layers of modern business speak. We need to go right back to the beginning, to its roots in language and history, to understand the deep philosophy that's baked right into the word itself. So check this out. Kai means change or revision. Simple enough. But Zen means good or virtue. So Kaizen isn't just about continuous improvement. It's fundamentally about change for the better. There's a moral dimension to it, an idea of making things genuinely better, not just different. It's a philosophy right from its core. And Kaizen wasn't dreamed up in some comfortable boardroom. It was forged in the fire of post-World War II Japan, where they had no choice but to be incredibly efficient with scarce resources. It was then shaped by thinkers like W. Edwards Deming, perfected inside the now legendary Toyota production system, and finally it was brought to the rest of the world by Masaaki Imai back in 1986. Okay, now I really want you to lean in for this next part, because if you only remember one thing from our time together, this should be it. Kaizen is not one single idea. It's a system. Think of it like a building that stands on two equally important, totally inseparable pillars. And here they are, continuous improvement and respect for people. And listen, this right here is where so many companies get it wrong. They get all excited about the first pillar, the tools, the processes for improvements, but they completely ignore the second one. And a building with only one pillar, it's always going to fall down. So pillar one, continuous improvement, this is the part most of us have probably heard about. This is the nuts and bolts of getting better. It's that relentless hunt for a better way to do things, systematically getting rid of waste, and this is a big one, focusing on the process, not just the results, because the right process will always give you the right results. But that whole engine is useless without its fuel, and that's the second pillar. And this is the part that gets so misunderstood. Respect for people isn't about being fluffy or polite. It's about a deep, genuine respect for the human brain's ability to think, to learn, and to solve problems. It's about trusting and empowering the person on the front line, because they're the ones who know the work best. It's the very oxygen that allows improvement to breathe.
All right, we've got the big picture. Now let's zoom in and look at the actual tools and concepts that make that first pillar, continuous improvement, actually run.
First up is the idea of Gemba, which literally means the real place. The philosophy here is so simple, but so powerful. You cannot solve a problem from a conference room or from behind a desk. You have to go to where the work actually happens. The factory floor, the service desk, wherever value is being created, and see reality with your own two eyes. So what are you looking for when you go to the Gemba? You're on a hunt. You're hunting for Muda. That's the Japanese word for waste, and it is the #1 enemy of Kaizen. And the definition is simple. It's any activity at all that uses up resources but adds zero value for the customer. And to make it really clear, Kaizen breaks it down into 8 specific types of waste. You've got the obvious ones, like defects or waiting. But then there are the subtle ones, like unnecessary motion. But look at this one right here, non-utilized talent. This is the one that connects everything back to that second pillar. Failing to use the brains of the people doing the work, that's not just disrespectful, it's the biggest waste of all. So how do you get rid of this waste without just guessing? You use the PDCA cycle. Plan, do, check, act. Seriously, just think of it as the scientific method, but for your work. Instead of making some huge risky change on a hunch, you plan a small test. Then you do it. You run a small-scale experiment. You check the results with real data. Did it actually work? And then you act. If it was a success, you make it the new standard. If not, you learn from it and start the loop all over again. It's discipline, not guesswork. But here's the thing, all those cool tools and cycles, they're basically useless if you don't have the right culture to support them. And that brings us right back to that vital second pillar, respect for people, and how you turn it from a nice idea into a day-to-day reality. This is how that big idea, respect for people, actually shows up every day. It's about real teamwork that tears down those department walls. It's about the personal discipline to stick to the standards. And crucially, it's about creating a system where continuous suggestions from everyone are not just welcome, but expected. Now, this might sound kind of weird, right? We've been talking about constant change, but the absolute foundation for all of it is a stable standard. Think about it. You can't improve a process that's chaotic and different every time. You first have to figure out the best way to do it right now, standardize it, and lock in those gains. Only then do you have a solid baseline to improve from. Okay, let's pull all these threads together now. We've looked at the technical side and the human side. Now let's assemble the whole Kaizen system and see how it really functions as a complete, integrated whole. So, if you're going to take one thing away, it's this. The mechanics of improvement, the PDCA cycle, hunting for Muda, that's the what you do. But the culture of respect and empowerment, that's the how you do it. They are completely intertwined. You try to have one without the other, and it's just not going to work. They feed each other. And this quote from the guy who literally wrote the book on Kaizen just nails it. Masaki Imai said it himself. Kaizen involves everyone. This isn't some project that managers push down from on high. It's a total system where managers and workers are partners in the same journey of improvement. And that really brings us to the ultimate point here. Kaizen isn't a program with a finish line. It's not a place you arrive at. It's a mindset. It's a relentless, never-ending journey in pursuit of a better way, where perfection is always on the horizon, something you're always moving toward but never quite reach. So I want to leave you with a question, a challenge, really. Forget about the grand plans and the big overhauls for just a minute. Thinking about this philosophy of small, continuous gains. What is the first, tiny, low-cost improvement that you can make in your own work or even in your own life today?